Your Warwickshire career began with a tour match against the Australians, I believe. Your debut was there, wasn't it? How did the move from Surrey come about?
Well, I started my career at Surrey 1969 and I played there for 3 seasons, during which I got selected for that tour of Australia in 70-71. But Surrey had two very good spin bowlers, Pat Pocock and Intakaba Lam, and they played an all-rounder called Stuart Story. So there was really only room for two specialist seam bowlers. And Jeff Arnold and Robin Jackman and I were vying for two places from the three of us. So come 1971, Jeff Arnold was very much the number one bowler. So it was a toss-up between Robin Jackman and myself for the other place in the team. So having played for England in the 70-71 season, I came back to Surrey and I was spending half the season in the second 11, which I didn't think was going to, forward my England career very much. So I said to Robin Jackman, "You've been at the club longer than I have. You'll have a benefit before I will. So I think I should leave and seek pastures new." So that's how it came about. But in those archaic days, I had to qualify for Warwickshire for half a season. I wasn't allowed to play until the 1st of July. That was in the county championship and the one-day games. But I wasn't forgotten by England. I played for the MCC against the touring Australians and eventually qualified to play against Worcester in the county championship and the Sunday League at the beginning of July. But it was a very long wait.
Why was it Warwickshire that you chose?
Well, I'd got to know Bernard Thomas, the Warwickshire and England physio, very well on tour. And he must have given Alan Smith, who was the Warwickshire captain at the time, a pretty good reference. Everybody was looking for quick bowlers, and I think 12 of the then 17 counties approached me to join them. But I thought that Warwickshire was the best run club. I went to and I met the chairman in those days, Edmund King, and Alan Smith very much wanted me in the side. And being a staunch member of the establishment, AC said, "I think your England prospects will be much better served here than one of the smaller counties."
And within 2 or 3 months of your debut, you were part of the championship winning side.
Yeah, that was very exciting indeed. It was an incredible side. I don't know what rules Warwickshire were bending to have 4 Test match West Indians in the team. In that 72 championship winning side, Kanai, Khalid Charan, Derek Murray and Lance Gibbs. And apart from Norman McVicker, our all-rounder at number 7, the other members of the side were England Test caps as well. So we had 10 internationals in our side plus Norman McVicker. So it wasn't really any great surprise that we were able to win the championship, which we managed to do against Nottinghamshire up at Trent Bridge and celebrated long into the night.
And the next morning with kippers and champagne for breakfast, I believe.
Correct, indeed. Yeah, we did. I don't think the dressing room attendants at Trent Bridge had ever seen anything quite like it. But there wasn't a dramatic amount of success for Warwickshire during the 70s, but we certainly made the most of that and backed it up when we won the John Player League in 1980.
Yeah, the downside, I guess, of having those 4 West Indians is that there wasn't too much coming behind it, as it proved in the 1970s. It was a tough decade, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean, I enjoyed playing with the West Indies Test players, obviously, but I didn't think it was doing the long-term prospects for Warwickshire very much good at all. And so it proved. We had some very talented players, you know, the likes of Neil Aberley and Graham Warner, Alan Gordon, who were basically condemned to playing second 11 cricket, whose careers may have blossomed had they had more opportunity. But clearly it was a big boost for the members and the Warwickshire fans to win the county championship, having got so close the year before when Surrey pipped them.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, the next trophy was to be 1980, wasn't it, the John Player League? Having had a bit of a mare in the John Player League in '79, didn't you? You came from nowhere and won it.
Yes, we had a great bunch of young athletic fielders, which helped us enormously. The likes of Andy Lloyd and John Clawton and Philip Oliver fielded brilliantly, and we engaged John Snow part of the way through the season to sort of fill the gap when I was away at test matches, and we got a really good thing going with that side, and everyone was pulling together for one another. We certainly weren't the most talented side in the country, but it was great to have a real team ethic. We were never going to be a championship winning side with our resources, but it was great to finally win a one-day trophy.
How do you reflect on your time at Warwickshire, Bob? Because it must have been really strange playing in some great England matches and series wins, and yet I was looking through the Wisdons the other day, and one of the Warwickshire sections described Edgbaston as a mausoleum one season. It must have been really difficult, the contrast.
Yes, and being a fast bowler, it was difficult to turn on the power day in, day out. We were playing 6 test match summers in those days, some without rest days, and you go straight back into a county championship match, and I'm pretty sure that some of the Warwickshire members got a bit fed up with me not showing my England form for Warwickshire. And of course, playing county cricket in a massive test match ground, you've got to make your own atmosphere, really. And if you haven't got a top quality bowling side, which Warwickshire didn't really have once David Brown retired in the mid-70s, we were never really going to be competing in the county championship. So the second halves of some seasons became pretty pedestrian, where you knew you couldn't compete for honours.
Yeah, I spoke to Gladstone Small a couple of weeks ago actually, and he said he remembered sometimes that you would get back from England on a Tuesday night, having, as he put it, pulled yourself into the dirt for England, and the championship match would start on the Wednesday morning. And it's just almost bizarre, isn't it, when you think of how central contracts have changed everything for England players now. But the likes of yourself and Ian Botham had to go back and fulfil full county duty as well. It's a lot to ask of the body, apart from.
Yes, it was, and the regime was ridiculous. Midsummer, we'd finish a county championship match on a Tuesday afternoon with the Sunday league wedged in between the Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then the Wednesday morning you'd travel to the test match venue. 3 o'clock quick net for an hour and a half, and then off to the hotel to check in, the team dinner, and straight into the test match the next day. And then, as you say, Tuesday afternoon you might finish the test match at 6 o'clock in the evening, back in the car, may drive the length of the country to the next fixture, and meant to turn it on the next day. It was pretty impossible for everybody, but particularly the fast bowlers. I'm sure that Stuart Broad and James Anderson are very pleased they don't have to do that.
You must look back up with considerable pride on your 325 test wickets, though, in the circumstances that you a good long productive test career. Yes,
it fell into 2 halves really, sort of pre-1977 when I was injured a lot and in and out of the side, and when Tony Gregg was captain, he gave me a rocket after the centenary test match in Australia in March 77 when I ran out of steam, and he said, you've got to get yourself a lot fitter. He said, I'd looked after you in India and Ceylon and the build up to the centenary test match, and you ran out of steam. You've got to get a lot more fit. There are going to be great riches available for top quality cricketers coming up. I didn't realise he was then, of course, referring to World Series cricket. But I took his word to heart and got really fit when I came back, and I hardly missed any test matches at all in the second half of my career. So that was a big bonus for me.
And of course you turned down World Series cricket, didn't you? And I'm guessing you've never had a second's regret about that.
No, I was very close to, if you like, the cricket establishment, the likes of Doug Insole, who was very influential at the Tesson County Cricket Board, and of course Alan Smith, who later became the secretary of the TCCB. And I knew the players that went to World Series cricket, although earning a lot of money, were going to be banned from playing for England. And my whole raison d'etre in my cricketing life was to play for England and look down on my sweater at the Crown and 3 Lions. So Warwickshire looked after me and gave me a contract where they would pay me even if I got injured and my career finished through injury. So that was very good of them to support me. And the same thing happened later on in my career when a staggering offer came from the South African Breweries tour to go and skipper that rebel side in South Africa. I managed to turn that down as well, so I could keep playing for England.
And just finally, of course, you've stayed in cricket or connected to cricket all the way through. Does part of you still regard yourself as a Bear, still affiliated to Warwickshire in some ways?
Very much so. I had the honour of being made an honorary life member of the club, and I always get a very, very warm welcome when I go up to Edgbaston. Doesn't matter whether the chairman's changed or the chief executive has changed, and if ever we're introduced to the crowd, a very warm reception at Edgbaston. I love going back to the ground. There's a very, very active Warwickshire Old Cricketers Association. We have a great laugh when we get together once or twice a year. So it's tremendous to look back on those years, and hopefully we may be able to have a 40th anniversary party for our John Player League victory in 2020.